This, you got to clear your mind here to think about this. This is, I said to some folks yesterday, what you're about to see could well be the #1 way that people start innovation engineering within 12 months. The way that creates more transformation and accomplishes the mission of anything that we do. This Collaboration Cafe is a work that has been like the never-ending song. It is a piece of work. It has been going on forever and ever and ever. We have built this. We have thrown it away. We have failed on this more than anything else in the platform. By far. Total rebuilds from the ground zero. Bless him, Dean Schroeder, professor, has been he's hung in there with us. He's helped. He's tried. We've brainstormed. We've created ideas. We've failed miserably. We've rebuilt, redone. And I said to him, I said, Dean, who is the best in the world at this? Who is it? Who should I talk to? He said, well, that would be you. I said, yeah, but we're failing. He says, but you're actually trying things that make sense and are experimenting. And when he came down, he spent an entire day with us, and he went through it. He says, I think you got it. He said, I think you got it. And I'm sure we don't, but the next one will get closer. But for the first time, I think the promise of what this is, because as Maggie will tell you, the promise on this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. To realize our mission, nothing can realize our mission more than this. Nothing can transform companies more than this. You know the equation. Nothing can do it more than this. I love stimulus. I love it. But it's nothing compared to the power of diversity. Not even close. Not even close. And it's impossible, because we won't do it. Can't do it. Scared of doing it. And everybody knows they want to do it, and nobody does do it. And so here we are with 3.0, and this has been one. This one got delayed because we kept redoing it, saying it wasn't good enough, wasn't good enough, wasn't big enough with these things. And so the research came out sooner, and pipeline came out sooner. And so now Collaboration Cafe comes because, and we're really happy with this, and really feel good that this could actually be called a 3.0. Now there's a couple pieces that are in works, and so you're going to get an announcement and shown what it is, and it'll come out in the next few weeks. It will come out when Scott says it's ready. Scott says, what do you want me to do? I said, do the right thing. See, when you say do the right thing, you know what happens is? Then they do the right thing. When you make the decision, that means the monkey's on your back, not their back. When you say do the right thing, then he's going to sweat it and do the right thing. And so it will be released when Scott says it's time to release. That is right. Because he has the final say on all of these things. No matter what, and I don't really care. And when you're in this for 25 years, what's another week or month? And we're in this for the long haul, and we'll get there when we get there. And so this is I love them all, but this is one of those that inside me, I just feel like this is the one that can create transformation of, this can accomplish the mission more than anybody else. And so to present this is our president, Ms. Maggie Nichols.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, I'll start with this in mind, and I'm going to come full circle back to this point at the end. So this was a posting in the Harvard Business Review from May 2011, talked about the idea of something called the progress principle. The progress principle. Of all the things that can boost emotions, motivation, and perceptions during a workday, the single most important is making progress in meaningful work. And the more frequently people experience that sense of progress, the more likely they are to be creatively productive in the long run. So I'm going to come back to this point in the end, but that's essentially in many ways what the Collaboration Cafe will let you do. So as Doug said before, right, we talk about diversity. It's a core of how we invent ideas and problem solve. It's stimulus, it's diversity, it's reducing fear. And diversity is collaboration on an exponential kick level, right? With stimulus, we can only do so much, but with the power of multiple people and the power of multiple minds, we go to a totally different place. You guys also know this research, the more diversity that you have, the more collaboration, the better. It's going to expand your ideas, it's going to expand your options. So we know there's lots of potential. However, we don't do this well. Collaboration systems fail. They fail, not a little bit, they fail really, really badly. They don't do a good job at all. And we set people up for failure a little bit. So let me walk you through a little example of what I mean, right? So there's the employee suggestion box. That's a version of collaboration. Hey, everybody, submit your ideas. Okay, here's my idea. So you submit. We'll review it at the monthly meeting. Time passes, the monthly meeting goes by. You know what? We did a crowdsource. We voted. No thanks to your idea. Hey, guys, we need ideas. Submit your ideas. No thanks. And that's what happened. And, you know, I thought about taking that picture out, but that really, now it doesn't feel like that. It feels like, I don't get it. Why aren't people responding anymore? And they really feel like, take that and shove it, man. And you end up in many cases doing more harm than good. Then you shouldn't have even asked in the first place if nothing was going to happen as a result of all that effort for them. So they disengage more than you realize that they do. Our big study of 12,000 businesses, 9 out of 10 people agree that people don't cooperate well. So there's all this potential. We know there's all these good things, but we're not doing it well, and the systems that we have in place aren't working. So why aren't they working? Well, fundamentally, it comes down to psychological reasons. They don't know how. 15% of the, 16%, 14% say it's fear. Then there's ego. And then finally, there is alignment with what's very important. And again, this was from a massive study to diagnose why aren't people collaborating today in today's workforce. Those are the reasons. So it's much more than just have we given them the widget to email back and forth faster. This is much deeper than that. So we have to go much deeper in the way we work and the way we think about it. So Collaboration Cafe, it does support the overall mission of going faster and reducing risk because we are going to collaborate with a system that actually works. But the way we're going to get there is by addressing each one of these psychological issues that keep us from participating in stuff that helps us collaborate. Now, as Doug said, we did a collaboration to build the Collaboration Cafe. So this is Dean. He wrote Ideas Are Free first. Now he's written the Idea-Driven Organization, and his job, or what his expertise is truly to look at what kind of collaboration works and doesn't work, and observation, and do some science behind it. So working with him really helps drive our insights into what will actually work. So what I'm going to show you here is actually 4 different systems of how you can put collaboration at work in the workplace. So there's a digital component, certainly, but it's more, I would say, the work process and workflow that goes with it that makes it work. So it's a combination of the two. So the first way you can do it, how it works, is this idea of ideas to action supergroups. So this is how you can take any department, any team, and really expand the impact. And the inspiration from this came from Dean's book, where he cited a study where he looked at how many ideas came from consultants for cost savings ideas and how many ideas came from those people closest to the work and what was the financial value. 4 times more financial value of cost savings from those people closest to the work. That's pretty awesome, just from collaboration and reaching out to them. What if we could just 2x that in our organization? And not even 4x, just 2x, just by using collaboration to help them problem solve. So here's a way to supercharge those supergroups. So here's the steps to put it in place. First off, we have to have alignment. So again, you can use this in teams, you can use this in work teams, you can use this in dynamic teams that are working on a project, but first we need to figure out what is that blue card that this aligns to, either an existing blue card or does this effort involve creating a new one. But it starts from the blue card. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to address what are the criteria for saying yes or no to any ideas that come out the back end. And again, I'm going to come back and talk about this here at the end. But at the beginning, we're going to set up what are the criteria that if some kind of just do it ideas come up, that I can easily get past and say, yep, go ahead and do that idea without checking with anybody. And then third, what we're going to do is we're going to take that blue card and we're going to go and say, what would be a request that might come out of this. So here's the bigger blue card. What might be some things that I might break this down into pieces for? So what I'm going to ask people for ideas for, what's the background, what's the constraints, what do I not want? So let me give you a little example just to kind of help you set the stage. So if we were in a hospital and we were saying, you know what, in this one department, I want to increase efficiency. So what we might set up as criteria is we might say, okay, for any just do it ideas that come up, if they're less than $100, they don't impact the patient, they take less than 4 man-hours to do, just do it. Don't ask anybody, just do it. That's okay to go for. And then you might say, okay, requests that we're going to do that would be all about efficiency might be about, hey, this week let's work on more efficient scheduling. Next week it might be about transport. Next week it might be about how do we more efficiently tend to the patient. Next week it might be about how do we clean the room faster. But it's all back to that overall blue card of efficiency. So we set this out at the beginning. After that, we're going to jumpstart the effort by doing a mini create session. Now, it's not required that you do this live, but it's perfect to do in combination with maybe a weekly meeting you're doing with your team anyway, right? 30 minutes at the end of our weekly meeting, we're going to do either a Spark deck, or maybe this one's a lean focus program, so we're going to do a lean exercise or a Six Sigma exercise. It's agnostic as far as what you do. You can use an exercise from innovation engineering, but let's kick off the effort, maybe a Spark deck or something with 30 minutes to start creating ideas around this request that we've posted. So let's say, again, we picked how do we clean more efficiently the first 30 minutes of our weekly meeting. We're going to just come up with a whole bunch of ideas of how we might do that more efficiently. And now you're off. Now we're leaving the weekly meeting after that 30 minutes. And now for the rest of the week, you can go about your day, but post ideas into the system that still feed that. I'm sure you guys have been part of creative sessions, either innovation engineering or other, where you got the idea for something well after the actual session had gone on. Well, that happens all the time. Here, the way we've made it easy is to actually use the computer in your pocket. So what's coming up from us is going to be an app that's exclusively for collaboration, not cluttered with anything else, exclusively for collaboration. So through that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, if you're walking around the hospital, you get an idea, you're going bam, 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 here's an idea, post it in. Bam, 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 here's an idea, post it in. Or you can also post photos or videos. So you could be in a team meeting, and maybe this is a strategy work session, and so this one you're going to videotape the meeting, and here's what the team said in the meeting, right? Or you might have this might be used for, you're going to talk to customers. So this is for the sales team, and this week they're working on Sales Blitz, so I'm going to record what a customer has to say about how we should change things. Or it's a process improvement thing maybe, and you're going out to the factory floor and you're taping them doing something going, oh guys, here's what we should actually be doing. Instead of this, it should be over here. It's about making it super easy for you to give me ideas in any which way. So across the week, they submit ideas like that through the computer in their pocket. Then on Friday, we're going to sort those ideas. We're going to sort those ideas and put them into different piles. So as you look at the online tool, there's a snapshot of what the Collaboration Cafe looks like. So it still has the blue card at the top, so everything aligns back to that blue card, has your projects underneath of it. Now you're going to see any related requests come out underneath that blue card as well. And when you pop open that request, it's going to give you the laundry list of everything that people have responded to all across the week. So in one place, you can just kind of watch your feed come in. So on Friday, you're pulling up your feed to see, okay, I've got the stuff from the first 30 minutes. I've got the stuff from all week. I'm going to review those ideas. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put those ideas into one of three categories. You're either going to define them as, hey, you know what, I think this one, she's a leap. That's a project. Or this one, you know what, I think that's core and that's a project. But this one here, we just talked about those qualifications. It's less than $100 for sure, less than 4 hours, doesn't impact the patient. That's a just do it. That's totally a just do it idea. When we identify those just do it ideas and whether or not they become projects, it makes it easier for us to hit the board with more stuff. Right? So let me show you this kind of in a different way here. So I'm the black belt leading the collaboration initiative, and we would lobby heavily that you have a black belt in charge of collaboration, and the ROI on this person is going to be ridiculously high. People always ask us, should I commit someone 100%? If it's to anything, commit them 100% to this, because there are going to be so many projects that come from just this effort. So the black belt then takes and says, okay, it's my job to sort. So all these ideas have come in from, or first they had the blue card, right, that they aligned against. All these ideas came up in the create session, and we created tons of different types of things. And then across the week, people submitted stuff. They're going to take those ideas. They're going to say, you know what, these are core ideas for sure. Let's shoot them all the way straight into delivery. And I'm going to quantify their impact and mark it as done. So again, it's really important to quantify that impact because we want to see the dollar values and the impact happen and happen and happen and happen. Then for the rest, that you might say, oh, you know what, these other projects, they're going to be projects, really core, really leap. Then they go through the normal process all the way through. So this one's going to turn into a project. The person who submitted it can be the project leader. They can run it through the whole cycles. And it goes all the way through the classic innovation engineering system. So we've got some that are already done because they were so quick and easy, and the rest are going to follow the normal path. You can use it with departments. So you can say, you know what, again, we're having a standing meeting every Monday at 9 o'clock with our sales team. We're just going to jack this in. It's not additional. It's part of the work. It's part of the thing that they're already doing. Or you might use it with work groups. You know, lots of people have leadership development cohorts or strategies or project teams. Or, you know, when you run your accelerators and you got people from all over the organization, no reason why those accelerators have to be just those 4 days and then just those project leaders continue. Have the conversation with everybody the whole time and continue to spawn forward all the effort. So that's one application. You can
let me just say something. This is the Japanese system. You've heard the numbers about outrageous numbers, 100 ideas implemented per employee per year. You've heard these crazy numbers. This is the Japanese system of a dedicated team that sorts and vets, and this is how the Japanese go phenomenal with regards to employee-driven ideas. This is it. This is how they do it. Dean said this is impractical in the US because they run out of ideas, and the stimulus that we're providing and the direction that we're providing, the strictures, he goes, guys, you got it. You've got a way to take the Japanese system and make it work in the Western world. But this is, if you've heard the numbers of these outrageous numbers that the Japanese do with this, because it got built into the culture, and I'll talk more about this at 5 o'clock. This is it, guys. This is the state of the art in how to make this happen. But we're talking about numbers beyond any numbers you've ever imagined. We're about enabling those people on the front lines to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
The title I did act is super group. What's the significance of the super? Is that an overarching group or is that super results?
Yes.
That's my question.
Yeah. Let's go with on both. Yeah, and it can be either. It's flexible. So super is just the idea that they're kind of oscillating on a higher frequency is all. And yeah, they do get super results. So you can look at it both ways.
It's making them feel important. Psychology.
Yeah.
Principle number 4.
It's another term. High performance team sometimes is used as a different phrase, but you have a question?
Did they use this with supply chain partners included in the group?
You stole my slide 53. Yes, absolutely. So we'll talk about that. Let me talk to you about it.
Wait, over here.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Just a quick question. So if you were in Lydia's company, the yellow cards that would be coming in would be on top of the 163 she already had in the bank from her accelerator group.
Exactly. It's a way you can continue. You know how we talk about the accelerators, the kickoff, but eventually that well will run dry. There's no reason why you have to have an accelerator to continue that effort. This is the perfect way to just keep serving that blue card, especially as it changes, because the blue chart, if you've done it right, the blue card opportunity areas will sometimes change. Perfect. Let's cycle it into here. It doesn't have to be a big accelerator to get that going.
Or you use that in front of an accelerator. Get some starters. Use the stimulus.
Yeah.
So Maggie, you did, I don't want to read into this either, because I think we could try implementing it multiple different ways, sort of within that construct, but
Right.
is there an assumption in this, like who's implementing and who's deciding which ones, who's doing the sort?
Yes, the sword is the black belt who's in charge of collaboration. So they're, again, as long as they've got the blue card set out it's really important to get the criteria set up at the beginning. If you haven't got that criteria set up, then the black belt can't do their job. They have to go back to the boss 100 times. So it's
Unless
really
the CEO
critical.
wants to look at every single small idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Sheldon, do you want to look at every single small idea?
No, I was thinking
No.
more in the other direction, like let the team, here are the ones that, let the team decide which ones they want to implement.
Well, so the black belt would sort and get them in rough packages. But then when it comes to implementing, obviously option 1 is if you love it, fantastic, Patricia, that's yours to go do. Whether it's just do it, core, leap, yes, that's the preferred thing. But if for some reason we go, oh my gosh, we're maxed to the gills, I don't even have that 4-hour minimum, then it would come back to me as the black belt to go get it done. Because again, if we're paying for a black belt to do that job full time, that's how I get my return on investment. But ideally, It isn't. Ideally, I've been so annoyed by that thing, I'm just going to go knock it out. Yeah, that's what we want to have happen. Good question. Any other questions? I'm going to show you a couple other ways to apply it and think about it.
Dean has a thing called KSR, Kill Stupid Rules. A bunch of these things are going to be stop doing stupid stuff. It's actually not doing anything, it's stop doing stupid things in the front lines.
Yeah. I'm going to talk more about kind of the psychology that we believe goes on when you start to do those regularly here towards the end. But next, let me tell you about the other way to use this, and that's an accelerator multiplier. So as Lydia walked you through, right, you could do the accelerator. Let's say we're having our accelerator right here in the Eureka Ranch in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's a face-to-face session. We've got 12 to 18, maybe 20 people in it. Before the session, we did stimulus mining. On the first day, we came up with lots of ideas. Second day, we did prototyping. Third day, we did problem solving. Fourth day, we kind of prioritized and went from there. That's with those people in this room. But if you use the Collaboration Cafe, all of a sudden, I can totally expand all those people that I can connect to outside of this room that can help me accelerate everything. So in advance, and this happens a little bit today for some folks, is you take and you multiply the stimulus by inviting more than just the people that will come to this room or come to this session to be part of the stimulus mining done piece. Whether it's you're buying them all pizza and say, join me at lunch and all the various locations that we have and do stimulus mining, and you get stimulus mining by 50 people, that's still going to feed into that session. It's a way to absolutely explode what you can get and bring in terms of value. On that first day, where you're generating lots of ideas in that great big create session, we can do the same thing online. So the same tool that we just talked about in the last application, use here. They can either watch a live Spark Deck, or you can post a Spark Deck and then say, hey guys, all you external people, from 1 to 2, would you mind logging on, looking at that Spark Deck and popping on some ideas for me? And instantly they're adding to the idea collection that you have going on, whether it's to yellow cards or whether it's straight into just the request. So they can expand your stimulus, and then you can, let's say at 3 or 4 o'clock in that afternoon, you can pull, hey guys, let's pull all the stuff that we had that was percolating online, and now let's bring it into the live session and see if we can kick it up a notch. So you just expanded all your ideas in a major way. Then by the time you're prototyping, perhaps you want to multiply your idea doubling. So again, this does connect back to other things and the other research tools and stuff like that. So you could put in your idea. By that time, different teams have projects going. So Rick's going to post his idea and go, here's what I think. Who else has a different spin on that? And again, it could be he's sending it back to the people that are in R&D back at home, or he's sending it to the people who are sitting in Japan because it's an idea for the Japanese market. Whoever it is, he can be reaching out to a ton of people. Rapid research, you could have idea problem starters, idea starters, problem starters, idea scan. You could do rapid test. You could have internal people on the receiving end of that, so you can do idea scans for you. You could have external people. You could have customers lined up in the evening. Imagine how fast that would go if you could add data to the inside of all those research things in the midst of your accelerator sessions. And then certainly you can have Ask an Expert. So you can have panels of people, of experts inside and outside the company, again, waiting on the line. Guys, from 2 to 4 on this day, we're going to have experts from XYZ University. We're going to have our lean experts. We're going to have this scientist waiting for any answers or questions that you want to go do inside the request system, and you post to that group. I mean, there's just a multitude of ways to think beyond just the physical confines of diversity in the room that you're working in. And it just makes it go to a different place. And of course, it works in the succession of every day, but it also works in that deconstructed session as well, where in week 1, we're going to go do this, and then we use it to do our collaboration in the middle, in our sort of homework assignments between each phase of the accelerator. So this is the kind of the platform that allows you to do 402 tests in 1 week, but also to reach out to so many more people. The accelerator is so fast in real time, I don't have time to keep checking my email constantly or looking online to see if I've gotten any responses. Well, if you have an Apple Watch, you will indeed get that little ringy-dingy that says, hey, you've got a new response, you've got a new response, and you can kind of watch them roll in, especially if you've got people on, if you've got appointments with people that they're going to be online for you from 1 to 2, that's really great because then you can get the responses really tightly.
Are you going to deliver Apple Watches?
Surprise! It's like Oprah. Look under your chairs, everyone.
All right, tear the room apart.
The third application I want to share with you is project problem solving. And there's a number of things that we observe with everybody about how they apply innovation engineering. Obviously, the very popular way is to create ideas and then take them through, but it's not as popular. I don't think it's not as top of mind to do problem solving for a lot of folks, which is fine. But you can use collaboration to do problem solving within your projects. So it's 9 a.m. Oh, shoot, I can't get the technology that I thought I could get to solve and deliver for this. There's a problem. So because we've set up groups in advance, that person is now empowered to send out a request to people inside or outside the organization. People can respond publicly, so that one person responds and everybody sees it, which is great. I can respond and I can feed off of what they fed off of. But other people might say, you know what I've got to say, though, I don't want everybody to see. And they can now send a private response, which is a huge deal when it comes to collaboration and making people feel much more secure that I can respond to you without the whole wide world seeing. At 3 o'clock, certainly you've got some more options now that I did a little bit of research of what to go do. But then that person sends a thank you note. Thanks, everybody, for contributing. Here's what happened. Another key that Dean would point out to us and say, that's a huge one, because people need their ego stroked when it comes to this kind of stuff. Nobody likes something to go off into the ethos and then never hear the rest of it. So that's a huge deal for keeping it going. So let me come back now to how, and I've mentioned some of these as we go, but how each one of these reasons why people don't collaborate are addressed using the system. So they don't know how. So one part of this is the workshop that you have today is going to be upgraded. And it's going to include how to use collaboration. So they'll be taught when they go through that, we call it the Greenbelt workshop or the regular workshop, how to do collaboration. And then as well, obviously, you're going to teach them how to use the Collaboration Cafe.
You understand the fact that this is going to be one of those fundamentals. This isn't going to be an option. It's going to be collaborate. So in the very base education of every single time, we're going to be talking about collaborating. And that people can do this. So they can set up their own groups, their own connect groups. I don't care if they go person to person, inside, outside the organization, they can do whatever they want. But we're going to make this fundamental to every single piece of education. It's not like patents, which will be a separate thing. This is the thing of innovation engineering. Stimulus, diversity, drive out fear, this is part of it. This is part of it.
The way we help to address the fear is a few ways, right? And the reasons why people don't submit ideas today. My idea is dumb. I'm not sure who I can share it with. I don't want everybody to see it. That's why we put in those private responses. And that's how we put in as well 4 tiers of security. So you can, when you set up groups, you can kind of say, okay, you guys are part of this club, and you guys are part of that club, and this club can know everything. I don't have to hold anything private from them. But this club over here, they're my external suppliers. I can't tell them as much. But we can preset those groups, so that way when you go say, I want to go responses from these people, you know who you're talking to and what level you can release off to them, what you can tell them about. Huge deal when it comes to getting people to respond. Ego.
Hey,
Yeah.
just for logistics, do you keep in the portal doing this, or does this connect to your email?
You have to be in the portal doing it. That's a great
Or the
idea
app.
for to submit. Yeah.
What the question was, we're having a hard time online hearing the outside of the room, so if you could repeat what she asked.
The question was, does this interface with your email, or is this just through IE Labs? And today it is just through Innovation Engineering Labs. But that's a good idea for future development. Right. But with the app, you'll be able to go in and put the thing in.
Are they individual lists or are they association lists?
They're portal-wide. So
Probably
it
set it up.
depends on who you are and how you've set it up. If you're setting it up from an administrative level, then yeah, you set up sort of shared groups so people can go that group, that group, that group. But Doug might have some private people he wants to go talk to, and he can set up his own groups. So there's lots of flexibility. So how do we address the intrinsic or the ego element, which we all have? The simple thank you note, I know it seems very simple, but it is really, really helpful when you get people and you get a little bit of, hey, you know what, thanks very much for your efforts. They will come back and do it again, which is great. The other intrinsic reward is valuation. You'll watch. Again, if we get a whole bunch of just do it ideas that happen from this, you're going to see the clock ticker start going up on the valuation of here's what we've shipped within innovation. Sometimes, I mean, you gotta tell the story of innovation and why it wins. If you're always telling the story of there's going to be this big thing and it's going to come out and it's going to be a leap and it's going to be amazing, well, that naturally is going to take longer. And this is how you hit the board with wins much sooner than that, by just shipping the just do it ideas and doing the valuation of what they're worth.
Once you set up your group
Yeah, they can be done at an administrative level. So it shares it all over IE.
They all work together. All work together.
And then the last major piece about ego and intrinsic reward is the ability to do this many to many. Whereas, Rick can send out something on his own. He doesn't need special policing, and all of us can set up our own little question and answer networks back and forth. So it's not just the classic version of an idea inbox, right? Is tons of ideas are submitted, they go into something and they wait for forever, and then maybe they get siphoned off. Here, everybody's empowered to just say, hey, you got a problem? Go post it. Go do something about it. Go get help. And people are taught how to do that, give that kind of help. And then, of course, this part's obvious by now, right? Lack of alignment. All of it went back to the blue card. So whether it started from the weekly implementation or regular implementation, we still started from the blue card. The accelerator or the sessions start with a blue card. The online portal is going to say, what blue card does this request go to? I mean, there's no way you can be doing this kind of work and not be aligned back to a strategy that the business is trying to do. So there's no ambiguity about, wow, there's weird requests that come in. I don't even know if I should do anything about it. These ones are going to be, no, they're completely aligned with what we're trying to accomplish here in our organization. So how do you do this from an infrastructure standpoint? Well, first off, you have to do those setups at the beginning. So you need to set up what groups you're going to have, and that's from an administration level. So you might set up departments, have preset experts in there. You might have some external groups that you set up so that people have those kind of at the ready. And then to kind of get it kick-started, to get it begun, pick a group and find them and go say, okay, let's create a 4-week plan for this group. So what's our blue card? What are we going to do across these next 4 weeks? Every single time we're going to do a different request and start working it through and start making it real. At the same time, run an accelerator or a create session and use one tool inside one create session. All you need to do is just pull off the Band-Aid just once. Just get people exposed to it just a little bit. And once they get the feel of it, they'll start to respond to it. But they got to see that it's a real thing that actually works and that we're using. And if anybody needs to respond regularly to everything that comes out from that system, it's you. It's all the black belts, it's all that group needs to be the ones responding. Once you get a base going of people doing it in groups, and them seeing, wow, this is actually a real workable tool. We're actually doing this. We're actually posting things. People are responding. Then you're going to see more people naturally doing this, but going to step 2, which is expand the impact and really encourage people to post their own needs and start making it more of a, when you need it to problem solve, use it as well. But again, they won't get into that rhythm unless you've established this is a real thing we're doing. Every week when we have to come up with ideas because we're doing this, this is something we do anyway. So they're going to have that muscle already ready. I don't remember what slide number I told you it was, but now it is. Innovation supply chain is the third kind of wave. So once you do it well inside, usually people want to get comfortable with that way. Every individual's doing it in their own way. Then you can think about innovation supply chain. So in advance of that, though, before you engage your external partners, you really do need to have, obviously you need to educate them through a workshop, but you have to have fair upfront agreements. Supply chain's just far too riddled with some other stuff. You have to go in equitably saying, here's what we agree. When ideas come out of this, here's what's going to happen to those ideas before they go in. Otherwise, you won't get great stuff from them. So the way it works is you then, I said before, you can do private or you can do confidential or non-confidential ones. So you're going to create a request that's going to go out to that network. Remember, it's not product supply chain. This isn't who can make me the cheapest widget. This is who can do the most amazing things that I can't even figure out how to go do. It's amazing what suppliers and small organizations can do when you're, especially the higher you are up in the food chain. There's brilliance down below you. There's so many amazing, amazing companies that can use their creative prowess and much more than you ever asked them for. But this gives them a way to respond to something meaty, to do something real. And because you have the fair agreement at the beginning to go, you know what, whatever IP comes out of this, you agree to give me exclusive license in this area for this period of time, and I'll give you the first year's production rights. Now they're enticed to want to participate, so you have to do that part up front. But then you post it out to them, and then they can respond with suppliers, partners, with their ideas, with what they could do, and all that kind of stuff, and it starts to create a whole new kind of commerce between the two of you. So all these different applications happen, and these are all ways to get ideas moving and do collaboration. The sneaky little secret, that's not so much a sneaky little secret anymore, is doing this, the collaboration stuff, the collaboration cafe, is really how you make everyone, everywhere, every day come to life. That is how we do that part of the mission. This is how we do that every day. It's just part of what I do. It becomes part of the cadence, and it's just that part. And if you think about it, if you're doing the things within just Collaboration Cafe, you're partway there to doing the whole mindset. You're using stimulus, you're using diversity, you're aligned against strategy, you're doing the numbers, you're getting people exposed to plan, do, study, act. You're partway there to making the transformation. So as I said at the beginning, there's this whole idea of productive work, and many people are interested in how do I move my way through this diffusion curve inside my organization. So we've started with innovation engineering. We've done our waves, we get our big wins, we realize we need a big win to do the big impact. But to increase that cultural change, what you can do is use many small projects that you get out of this to help them grow their personal confidence that they can actually do this. Wow, I came up with an idea. And then the next week, Patricia sorted the group and she said, yeah, that's fine, just go do that one. And the next week I did something. I shipped an innovation. I did, me. And it's by that every single person realizing that they can and they've been successful, even in a small way, is how you start to make that cultural shift happen faster. Small things, they add up to a big financial impact and performance impact. This is a little bit more from that study. Whether they're trying to solve a major scientific mystery or simply produce a high-quality product or service, everyday progress, even a small win can make all the difference in how they feel and how they perform. So this is kind of the hidden secret behind why we do all these bits and pieces. It really is the cultural change effort. And if you're doing all these things, in the supergroups, they would say, you know what, hey man, we innovate all the time. Every single week we're innovating at our organization. Or if you use it for the accelerator, they go, man, it happens quick too. I was in this and I was out, and it was just in 1 hour and we did it. Maybe I was in a, man, if I've got a problem though, I totally know where to go. It's gonna be my first choice of the things I go do. And the last one, which we haven't talked about as much, is this idea of knowledge sharing, which is the blogs platform, which some of you have used up to this point. And that's just feeling like I'm connected to a whole that's doing more than me. So you have the ability within IE Labs to create blogs. So you're all part of one already. So there's the innovation news blog that you all get. That's a public one that goes out to everybody who subscribes to innovation engineering. As well, those of you who have come through here before, if you're at least a blue belt, you get the Brain Brew blog, which goes out to just those people that have been through, that are blue or black belts. But we suggest you should start especially the larger organization you are, and the more you're about creating a movement and a real efficacy against this culture is going to shift. Create a group of your black belts, create a group of your green belts, create work groups, create groups for, hey, you know what, this accelerator team got together this one time, here's what's happened, guys, since last you tuned in. It's really important that they feel part of this movement even inside your organization, and that grows even more. So I'll leave you kind of with this last thought. This was the last piece of research where I talked about, they did an analysis of students in the university and said students who feel comfortable with and connected to their online learning community are much more likely to be active participants in that community, working together to develop and build knowledge systems. There's a highly significant relationship between connectedness and motivation to share knowledge. So the more they feel connected, even through this digital community, there's going to be the live version, but also through the digital community that you create, the more connected they feel, the more they'll participate in that community. So it does mean we're going to need to nurture and do these focused efforts, just building the muscle memory to keep happening with doing collaboration and creating ideas. Good. We're going to do a lab class, speaking of. So I'd like you to work, if you brought a team of people, great, work with the people that you brought. But I want this to be focused on your organization. This is a two-sided sheet. I'm going to have you just do this first side. I'll pass it out here in a second. And what I'd like you to do is, sorry, I printed this out. It says hospital. Ignore that. I want you to work on your own organization. So it says category, core ideas, just do them, core projects or IE Elite projects. Then think about what's the level of each idea, the threshold of money, people, time, and risk. Those are your criteria, and explain your rationale for why this scope is necessary and right. I want you to at least think about, for whatever blue card you have active for your organization today is what I'd like you to think about. So for a blue card active in your organization today, what would you put down for core ideas at the minimum, core ideas, so those are the just do it things, as what would be the threshold of money, people, time, and risk? Again, remember my hospital example. It has to cost less than $500. It can't affect the patient. It has to take less than 4 man-hours. So what would be low enough to just say, just go do this? And then say your rationale for doing it. And then if you've got time, go on to the next one and go on to the next one. So there's no excuse then a couple weeks from now when you go back and you've kind of wiped off the eyes to get started doing this immediately. So again, grab a sheet. I'll take one and pass it on, and work in whatever teams that you, or wherever you want to, but work with the group that you brought. Work in your company groups to think about what's the blue card that we have, define the criteria, and explain why the criteria are that. Two questions. Anybody? We'll just have a quick chat, which is either the classic, what did you learn from this section, or how are you going to take collaboration and the system and apply it back at your company or organization? How are you going to use this? Yes, I will. No pressure, anybody. You'll be on live TV streaming all over the world. Perfect. What did you? Oh, you got one, Matt. What did you learn, or how would you use it?
So we're nice and unique in Wyoming that we have a few clients, which is really gives us the opportunity that we're going to try to use this as a collaboration between all of our clients to be something that we can put information out on what we're working on. We can get feedback from our clients instantly and have them feel appreciated and that we're listening to exactly what they need, and also make it kind of back and forth between clients to clients of what they're looking for, what they're needing, and that since there are very few resources, and within the state, they can share those resources.
Two more, and then you can hear about patents. What did you learn, or how would you use it? Anybody? It's a quiet moment. We're just waiting for, what did you learn, or how would you use it? Is there no other ways to use it other than what we've outlined, you think? Thank you.
This isn't what we talked about, so I'm sort of
No fear.
So one of the things, we're an MEP center in Pennsylvania, so one of the things that we have initiated in the past year is social groups. We call them forums, peer forums. So for example, an inventors club, an executive forum, a lean users group, hopefully an IE users group. And so we're constantly trying to figure out what's the next topic that we're going to dig into, who are we going to, where is it going to be, what is the problem, digging into it and that sort of thing. So it's helpful to poll the group, figure out what they're working on, figure out what's relevant to them, and then figure out how we're going to approach it. I think that this could be helpful with that. And again, gathering it all in one place, which right now we're doing with email or phone call. So I think that would help.
Just a couple final thoughts, just as tips as you kind of move this forward. And again, I'm thinking from like you're creating, with Collaboration Cafe, we talk about the movement of innovation engineering. And we have a song, we have a t-shirt, all kinds of funny stuff. But at the end of the day, you are creating a movement. No matter where you are, you're creating a movement because people are putting their neck out there to do innovation and they're taking a risk. And we've got all these ways to reduce risk. But so they're following sort of your path, right? When you come back as a black belt or as a blue belt, they're following the tone that you set. So when you come back and you can install even just this basic thing, even if it's just small, one little window, let's take one little group of people who put their hand up and go, hey, let's solve tiny little problems. It gets it started. We've used this with a couple of groups, and they would say back to us after doing it for a month, that first week was tough, getting people to respond. It was kind of awkward, and they didn't do it, but I, as a black belt, responded a few times. By the time you get to your fourth week, you won't be able to control how much people are asking other people for help without you being part of it. But you do have to mindfully kickstart it. You really have to think about it, and you really have to get it going. That's all you got to do is get it going and nurture it for a little bit. But it'll be exponential, truly, the impact you get. So you just got to think about that. That's it. Sorry.
Is it proper to think of this as a go-to meeting, a go-to webinar that never closes, and you don't have to be there at a particular time for it?
That's a a good way to think about it. The question was, is this like a go-to meeting that stays open forever and ever, and as long as you want it to? And it's yes, right? It's a holding pattern or holding place for all these ideas to go. And frankly, as a black belt, when you're going to prepare for a session or you want to go see where the ideas are, it's an easy way to go scoop, 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 take all those bits and pieces and go from there.
We'll find out as time goes on. But because it's all one platform, if you're engaged in the whole platform, because people can engage in just one if they want as a way to get started. But if you're engaged in the whole platform, it may very well be that we find together, as we learn this, so just so that you're clear, we're laying out platforms that we know have a pedigree that can work, but we will learn it together. It may very well be we find that asking things like using some of the research tools where it's a specific thing they have to do, may be the safer way for them to start to build the habit of doing it. Sending them an idea starter survey to rate your frontline operational stuff, Craig. Here's some ideas for making people be interested to buy ham other than 3 times a year. Ooh, that's a challenge, isn't it? Yeah. How do we get people to buy ham in the summer? Here's 10 ideas for getting people to buy ham in the summer. Getting all the frontline stores to be involved in that. Then just come up with 10 more. And so they get doing that, and then you say, okay, here's an open-ended response. You've seen our dumb ideas. Now here, give us some smarter ones. We may need to prime the pump. We got to learn these things. But the combination of these things together, and then the ability to process them one and done into deliver and quantifying them, because you already know how to do the math. And now your lean system can be totally integrated in that, which doesn't tend to have a reporting platform like this that's strategically focused. Now it goes part of that same platform that we're doing it. And so as we start to figure this out, the easy way to get started here may be combinations of these things. But what we do know is that if you want to really unleash the power of the brains that you've got coming into your parking lot every day, we got to get to using these minds. And the numbers they can do are unbelievable. Unbelievable that's the potential that's there. And Dean has the data that shows unbelievable volumes of juice. 4 times your Lean and Six Sigma projects, formal projects, you can realize 4 times more from employee-driven ideas. That's the money on the table. Okay? And so as a way to get us started, but started with the correct, as she so beautifully laid out, the correct values, strategy, stimulus, diversity, PDSA, quantification, doing the math. They're learning all of the things to run a LEAP project. We just snuck up on them. I call it the oblique attack. We're coming in and they don't even see it coming and they're getting all of the right behaviors. See, we're relentless on this mission. Relentless. We will do anything to accomplish the mission. This is one of those, stealth attacks or ways to do this, where we're coming in from a sideways way to get it doing, and then we build the habit. We build the habit. What do you think it's going to be like for a production person to go home and say, you know, I've worked there for 20 years, and you know something? They actually did an idea I had. Huh. They actually did an idea I had. That's what it's about. Because you know something? You might have heard the song. Everybody's got wings. Everybody can dance if given a chance. Collaboration Cafe allows everybody to dance. Thank you, Maggie.